Hello, everyone. Wow, this is quite a turnout today. I'm pretty stoked. Thanks so much for coming to another Off the Lips session. I'm going to keep my introduction very short. Today we've invited Jessie to come and talk to us.
Hey guys.
Jessie is interesting for three very short reasons.
And three alone.
The first is that she does some very interesting work. The second is that she works for a company in a foreign country, which is also interesting, in Scandinavia. And the third reason is that she has chosen to be in Jeffreys Bay rather than a million other places that she could be in the world. So yeah, Jessie's going to talk to us and after think about questions while she's talking, and we'll do a Q&A afterwards. Over to you, Jessie.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael. Thanks everyone for coming. Let's see how this goes. All right, so maybe we can do a hands thing to start this off. Did anybody else grow up in the garden route? There we go, okay. So some similarity, it counts. I come from Pleo, so it's close. Did anyone go to school in PE here, by the way? Anyone? You see, thank goodness for Michael, there we go, I like it. And who else went to UCT with me? Hey Kyle, how's it going? Nice, so there's some common ground here, right? But perhaps this part's a little bit different because I'm traveling full time. So what's that about? Am I really, really rich? No, not at all. Instead, what happens is I actually used to live in a bunch of places in Scandinavia about 6 years ago. And one of them was a city called Copenhagen in Denmark. And what I did there is I worked my ass off coming as a South African first to Stockholm in Sweden, applying for like hundreds of jobs, getting hundreds of rejections, just like they did not understand what the South African was doing there. And I didn't understand, honestly, how to look for jobs either. I look back and I think they had good reason to reject me. But yeah, so I worked my way and I did everything I could. And eventually I started seeing, like, I got a great job, and then I got another great job, and then I've been in that one for a while now. So I've been working my butt off to try to be Nordic, to be understood, to like seem qualified to them, so that I also felt that I had career security, because I didn't feel that I had that at all. So I did loads of talks and stuff, and then I joined these guys shortly after this poor quality photo was taken. So, as you can tell, they're exceptionally white, exceptionally blonde. Welcome to the Nordics. It's a true representation. That's recorded. Good. So, I work for Pleo. And what Pleo does is we're about company spending. So, what on earth is that? It's basically like, hey, we trust you to hire you, so let's trust you to spend company money. So, everybody gets a card, like a company card to spend. And if I want to go to HQ, if I'm flying to Copenhagen, I just use the Pleo card and off I go. And it's transparent, so you see it in the app and everything. We just expect people are going to be responsible and spend responsibly. And that's where I started, and I joined as head of people. And what that means is it's the old-fashioned HR. We kind of redid all of that, and it's all about how you work with people, everything from hiring, culture, experience, growth, you name it, throughout their time at the company. So I joined and we were 40 people. I was one of the first leaders, and that was exciting. In 2019, we got bigger. 2020, we got bigger. 21, we got bigger. And now we're bigger than all of that. And every day we grow. So we're a unicorn now, which basically means we're over $1 billion in valuation. So we're like 4.7 something billion dollar valuation, which is crazy because I'm like, wait, I was here since we were 40, now we're 480. We're hiring 40 people a month, right? So like every month, the company is becoming what it was when I joined. And the people team, my team, has gone from me not knowing how to do that job, because if you think I'm qualified to be a head of people, I am not. I have a law degree, and I came from operations and sales. Like, it had nothing to do with it really. And now our team is 35 in people, and we're around the world. So like I worked my ass off, I finally saw success, I'm like, yes! And I want to ruin it, pretty much all of it. And I'm like, but I want to travel. So, okay, does that mean I have to like go back to waitering, which I've done for years and years and years. I really, really don't want to be a waiter again. If any of you are, like, complete respect. I've done it for like 8 years. I can't anymore. So I left this, which is pretty much what Copenhagen looks like. Very cute. Because I was like on the canal, and it was very charming and very European. To this. So this is not just my stuff, this is also my husband's. So that's our life. Like literally, you'll see, like if you see us when we move out, like whenever we move out of a place, we like pack up our entire life, put it into little suitcases and tote bags, and we lost the skateboards. We had to leave those somewhere along the way. And started traveling, and this was over a year ago. And so far, we decided to do a continent a year, but Corona was tricky. So we decided, okay, let's start with a bit of Europe and a bit of Africa. And this year, it's full on Africa. So pretty much, like if you think about it, by the way I was able to do that is I spoke to my company and they were incredibly cool to let me do this. I had career sacrifices to make in order to do this, but they paid off because I get to do this. And how you choose a place, what we were looking at really is kind of the lifestyle all of you are living, where it's like, there's amazing surf, there's a great vibe, there's a cool co-working, there are great people around, everyone's friendly, and we're just trying to figure out where we want to live in the world one day. So we're traveling around and figuring this out. And JB is a natural choice because we actually came here in March. That the first time was unnatural in that we didn't think, we're like, okay, but where to next? And kept looking at Cape Town, but I was like, I've lived in Cape Town, bit sick of the clickiness, like, bit snobby. I just wanted to be like down to earth, wanted to surf, wanted to be myself. And we came to JB last time, we just loved it. So when we were back in Pleo now on the holidays for Christmas, we decided, okay, well, let's come back. So what does it mean? What do you need to do if you're working full time with the company growing like that? Where do you spend most of your time? So you spend it in a co-working. This is a cool co-working from Barcelona, actually. They closed down in December, so I got in just in time. But pretty much spend like all your time there, just on Zoom calls, meetings. I'm always sitting at the window there, and you'll notice I'm pretty busy. I'm normally the last one to leave the green room. So like really working hard. And then like 30% of like actual traveling is truly maybe not that much fun, if we're really honest with ourselves. If you keep doing this, to get to South Africa, it was Omicron had just, been big here, and so they closed all the flights. So it took us 36 hours to get to Pleo, which was not nice. That is me sleeping in Doha, I think. And only about 20% of our time spent on what you actually want to be doing at that place. So you're normally stressed from work and tired and like, oh my goodness. But then you're like, but we haven't even seen, like this is Spain, and this is Güell Park, for example, which is Gaudi, who's this architect who also did La Sagrada Familia. It's like, here's like one of the really cool places to go. And like I'm wearing like my running clothes. It was like the evening run, and then like, okay, quickly go do the sightseeing thing, and then quickly, because you also want to like feel at home. You don't just want to be a tourist the whole time, because we're doing this for the next 5 years or so. And this was my biggest worry before we decided to do this, because my husband's much more relaxed. He's like, we'll figure it out. I'm like, we won't. We need a plan. And so I was like, how on earth are we going to do this? So I have some hacks for you as well. One's particularly good, one's terrible advice. This is the terrible advice. Don't try to live small. If you're going traveling with a partner or a group, try have some personal space if you can. This one is 30 square meters. This is the kitchen over here. For 3 months, it's a long time. You won't believe it. This one was like, I think 17 square meters, if I remember correctly. Very small. Don't do that. But it does save you a lot of money. So how about this? This is much nicer. This is, yes. Okay, how on earth did I get to be able to stay somewhere like this? This is the great tip. So I don't work for them, but there's this website called Trusted House Sitters that's well worth looking into as a South African specifically, if you want to save some money when you travel. We stayed for about, I think we got like 2-3 months of free accommodation this past year just by looking after people's pets. And like this one was in Portugal, in Cascais, which is like lovely. It looks very much like Cape St. Francis. This was a dog, super cute, cheapest, with one leg, very nice, or 3 legs with one that's a little different. We also did this, which is very important. I spent pretty much most of my savings trying to figure out tax. So I spoke to every tax advisor. So I wouldn't be like breaking any rules. I wanted to do it super by the book, but also figure out if you're not living in one place, you don't necessarily need to pay the tax of your home country. You can choose your center of vital interests. So I set that up. So I'm a resident of Bulgaria, as an example. And this, I set it up in a way that with a lot of smart people, I save about 30%, Denmark has high taxes, but I save about 30% of my normal salary that used to be to Denmark, just by being registered there as well. So if you're looking at this type of life, you might not get there, but just try to figure out if there's a smart way to do that tax-wise. That's completely above board. But this is huge because for us, like we live off Danish monthly expenses that I normally had. That's like the max budget you can spend. So I'm saving about 30% a month just by not living in Denmark, which is testament to how expensive that is. And I work my ass off, you got that point. But I also just wanted to mention for the last minute, there are loads of sacrifices that come with this type of life. It is lonely if you keep going to new places alone and you're working your ass off, right? Like there's only so much time where you can make new friendships, your old friends are doing other things, so you lose touch a little bit with family and friends, office parties, your own free time just is dedicated to like this morning, like looking at Airbnbs. We're in Egypt next week. It's like, we still don't have a place to stay. We need to live somewhere. Like having a home, clothes. Like I have one pair of shorts, they're super shoddy. Like personal space, actually having time just to connect and just be in a place. Because you're always moving. So you're like, whew, it is tiring. Career moments, for sure, it comes at a sacrifice for that as well. My company's great, but I still notice moments where I really could have benefited by being there. Going on other people's trips, actually having a home, sense of belonging, all of these things. But you gain so much more. So I encourage everyone else, do it. It's so much fun. And yeah, I'm here if you have any questions. And that's what I do. So there we go.
Wow, that was quite a whirlwind, quite a lot to process there.
Sorry.
Thank you, Jessie. As usual, I'm going to open up the floor to questions. I'm sure there's many.
Very tough. Very tough.
What are your hacks that have worked well?
So, first of all, there's this community called Nomad List, which are all these fellow travelers. So they're kind of like inspiration on two different sides. On the one side, I don't have an apartment, I don't have a lease, I don't have a home. I have to like actually find a place to live because I don't have the next place. So they're great people to inspire me in terms of where next, which is very helpful. Because otherwise you're just in it alone trying to like, imagine apartment hunting once a month for 5 years. It's a tiring thing. Once every 2 months, hopefully, but sheesh. And on the work front, I have great colleagues. And Pleo's, we hire like 40 people a month. So just by chatting internally, I'm lucky with the scale. But yeah, I then don't have time. Like normally I'd be talking at events and stuff and meeting people more like this. You miss that. And that's also why co-working is great. I mean, I've had so much fun bouncing with you. Gary, I've had fun with you, wherever you are. Yeah, there you are. Yeah. That also is important. But
co-working spaces.
Yeah. But it depends. You guys have such a special vibe you've all built here. It's not the same at others. A lot of people are just sitting there and yeah.
Okay, I'll take the compliment.
Barcelona, I think, was lovely because it's very similar to Cape Town. So it has like a prom and everyone's outdoors. So everyone's doing like evening yoga and skating and rollerblading and like the evening vibe. People are out until like 11 every night. So this like energy is so much better. And I came from the Nordics where there maybe energy isn't the thing it's known for. But Barcelona, very nice and beautiful as well. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm used to being an English speaker in a foreign country. So by now, I mean, the hardest part is Bulgaria is in Cyrillic, right? So they have the Russian alphabet, so those letters you can't read. And all of my like taxes and employment contract, everything is in Bulgarian. So that's difficult when you can't even read the word. But in general, I've become, I think I put it as one of my things, like, no, like this one, like very, very badly skilled at many languages. So you can kind of get around, you kind of know what the word means by now, yeah. No, I've been very lucky. No, nothing yet. But we're South African, right? Like I think we're quite tough. My husband's Hungarian, he's tough too. 100%, it's expensive. It's like, so my partner, for example, works for himself. So that's a great example of someone who's like bootstrapping his business and traveling. So that's why we'd stay in these like very small places and stuff sometimes. But it depends the places you choose to visit. Barcelona, too expensive in that case. Then you can choose some places and get by very cheaply. You can still do it, but you're limited in terms of where you're gonna go. But if you want the world and you can go anywhere, probably you need about 2,000 euros a month. So like for us, it doesn't make sense to have accommodation that we could come back to, right? Because that's too expensive. So then if you are renting something out and stuff, you can make it work. But yeah, that's why it's probably suggested.
As little as 2,000 euros.
Huh?
There's a little bit. I mean, that's
Yeah. It's because the thing is, like, you're not on holiday. Like you're working. So you're just doing normal working things. You're going to the groceries in the evening and stuff like that. And if you're doing it long term, you don't treat yourself all the time. You don't like go out to restaurants every night and things like that. You like live pretty frugally as well. So yeah, you can definitely do it on 2,000 euros. He spends less than 2,000 euros a month, my husband. Yeah.
Jessie mentioned Nomad List earlier, and sort of cost of living per month is one of their main indicators that they use for sorting places.
Exactly. So like now we're going to Egypt next week, and there are two places we could choose. We could go to Hurghada, which is this one, or you can go to Dahab, which is this other, and Dahab has, the accommodation is like half price. So we're going to Egypt, and we'll probably go to Dahab because for 4 of us, for an apartment, like 2 beds and a roof, I can't give it in South African Rand. I can give it in US dollars. It's $900 for 3 weeks, which is very affordable for 4 people, right? So actually it's okay. You just have to like put in that work, which is tiring, yeah, but possible. Yeah.
Exception in this case.
I'm an exception, but people travel for sure because it's a very flexible company. So about 80% work in a location, by the way, 20% of us in the company are remote. Okay. But even the 80% will be at least 1 month a year somewhere else. But no one really does it full time that I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. For now, the same time zone, but the thing is I'm head of people too, right? So I can set that. So I'm figuring out for next year, we're going to open, because the country's just operating in Europe. We have engineers in Montreal, but depends on your own work. Mine, I have too many meetings, so it doesn't make sense. But I'm setting up async for 23. So for my travels conveniently timed, next year, we'll be able to go one of the time zones. But that's a different thing, yeah.
Cool. Amazing. Thanks so much, Jessie. I'll
course.
close it there.